Hello and welcome back to my channel. So I'm really talking about domestic violence or intimate partner violence. And I've already discussed psychological abuse. I've discussed a little about physical abuse. And now the last part of this series, if I could call it that, is it is sexual abuse. Now, any domestic abuse or intimate partner abuse, it has to do with one thing, and it's about power and control. And fear is what is used to get them that power and control. So, sexual abuse is when someone has sexual relations with someone else without their permission. That's it in a nutshell. Now, rape is one of the most violent type of sexual abuse actions out there because the abuser has chosen someone that he feels is weak or finds them in a weak moment or finds them in a state of vulnerability and basically takes advantage of them. Now, did you know that you could be sexually abused if you're in a relationship? If you are married, did you know that you could be sexually abused? Well, let me tell you, you can. If you say no and then your partner basically has sex with you or with force, even though you're married, that is still considered sexual abuse and it's not right. But a lot of times, some women just accept that and say, well, he's my husband or he's my boyfriend, you know. When there is alcohol involved, unfortunately, again, sometimes what happens is that person may not ordinarily do the things that, that they were doing to you as far as raping you or basically taking it when you say no. But sometimes alcohol and drugs, they play an important part because a person um, may think that, oh, it's okay for me to do this, and if they weren't inebriated, they wouldn't, think in those types of situations. So a lot of times it is, while this person is on drugs that they may do these acts. Now, there's a lot of sex trafficking, and I didn't know until a while back. I took a course about sex trafficking, and I didn't know how prevalent it was. But when it comes to sex trafficking, you have people who have money who feel that they can buy people, they can buy and they can sell people. And all these things are behaviors and behaviors that are um, basically not good behaviors that can be turned around, with proper therapy. It can be turned around. But it's unfortunate for um, the sex trafficking because it's a lot of young girls, and it's not just girls, it's boys. It could be young people, it could be older people who are kidnapped and placed into these situations, or these young people who are on the streets and they don't have homes, and then you have someone that comes along and they get wrapped up in these situations. But sex trafficking, it is huge, and it's one of those things where it's really unfortunate. Now, there's another type of sexual abuse, and that is with children. So then you have pedophiles, and so the pedophile thinks, oh, I like young children. And then you have these poor, vulnerable children who are sexually abused. Sometimes the sexual abuse ends up in death of a child. Sometimes the sexual abuse is among family members. So people that you trust may sexually abuse your child, and that could go on for years. And then the poor child won't tell because they've been threatened. You know, if you tell, I'm going to kill you, or I'm going to kill your parents, or just things like that. Now, the child never is the blame. So if there's somebody out there that's listening to me and you've been through that and you feel like, well, maybe you had something to do with it, maybe it's an outfit that you had on that caused that individual to be attracted to you and do that to you. No, 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 no. It's a problem that the individual has. It has absolutely nothing to do with you. But for you, what's happened for you is that incident has changed your life, and not in a good way, you know. And then you grow up, and then you may find yourself in situations, being hypersexual, promiscuous, or all those things, because it's like, well, you know, this is who I am. You know, this is who this person evidently thought I was, so I must be that. So then this is how I'm going to live my life. But if you're listening to me, let me just tell you, no, that's not how that is. The problem was the individual, but you ended up with emotional problems because of that. And it's not fair to you, but I can tell you that there is help for you. I always mention about people living the life that God intended. God didn't intend for you to be sexually abused. That was not your fault. Okay? So, this thing about power and this thing about overtaking people, that behavior is very strong in a lot of people. And I know at the time that they are doing these things, they know these things are wrong, but it's just something that just overpowers them to the point where they do these things anyway. And then the ones who are caught, then they end up in prison, and then they have pedophile, you know, as a label, you know, when certain things just don't have to be. As far as sexual abuse goes, it is a behavior like any other behavior. So sometimes if a person is taught when they're younger about respecting other people, respecting women, if you have those thoughts, to not act on the thoughts, you have to figure out other things to do in order not to act on the thoughts, thereby um, ruining the your lives, and then also ruining the lives of the people that you victimized. You know, there's a way that you can have therapy, and these things can be discussed. And so anything that has been learned, especially if it's a bad behavior, it can be unlearned. You know, that's why there are counselors out here. That's why there are therapists out here. Because having a conversation with someone like me, your life can be changed. You know, I've learned a lot over the last few years, and I've been fascinated by the human psyche and why people do the things that they do, and why they end up where they end up. And through different courses over time, I'm learning why people do the things, and why people get themselves in these situations that don't have to be. So there are many types of domestic abuse or intimate partner abuse, and we've just covered three of the major ones, but just know that there is help out there for you. So contact me. Better Days, faithbasedcounseling.com. Have a blessed day.